Hello, hello, and welcome to the July and August edition of the monthly, or in this case, bi-monthly Flowcast. I felt the need to skip July because we didn't have a lot going on, and I thought we would make a bigger one in the August edition. So here we are. Just like last month, I'll highlight a few of the top components and actions, and then I'll continue on with the rest. So the first one we have here today is Ryan Mercer's improvement to the file upload component, which is a super cool addition. So what he's done is he's done a few things. One is the ability to customize the component's labels, provide validation that the user has uploaded a file, and providing a custom validation error, which is awesome, something you couldn't do before. Automatic icon selection based off the files that you upload, which is really neat. He pulls from the Lightning design system here and basically maps the different file types to the different icons, which is pretty cool. And then being able to delete the files that you've uploaded already, which is great for preventing orphan files that you may have been uploaded during the course of a flow. And then lastly, well, actually not lastly, he has added an output for content version IDs in addition to content document IDs, which is great if you need to do some more advanced processing around the version IDs. Then lastly, he actually provides the ability for community guest users to upload files. Now, you do want to be careful with this one, so definitely read into the documentation before you know what you're getting yourself into. And he's also provided a permission set for this as well. Next up is my friend Jonathan Giuseppe over at Salesforce has created a pretty nifty custom metadata data table in addition to his custom metadata saver action, which allows you to manipulate custom metadata records from within a flow. If you recognize his name, he's also the awesome author of the Nebula Logger, which I think I've highlighted in the past as well. So definitely check that out as well. And his GitHub repo has some nice instructions on how to use it as well. So if you need to manipulate custom metadata within a flow, definitely check this one out. Next up, it wouldn't be a Flowcast without mentioning Eric Smith's latest release of Datatable, and this is no exception. Some notable improvements for this past couple releases. He's added translatable custom labels, which is great for when you want to use it for another language. Added support for screen readers, so a great change for accessibility reasons. And then he also added in one of my favorite features for whatever reason, I guess because I don't like creating custom variables to store record collections, but he's now added support for CPE, the CPE in the data table to use automatic outputs upstream, so like your get records and things like that. And lastly, the last big kahuna for the Flowcast for this month is the Flow Migrator now supports workflow rules. So if you were waiting to get an automated tool to help convert your workflow rules to Flow, check out this latest improvement provided by Alex Edelstein. He provides instructions on how to use it and give it a whirl. Now, I will just say generically, I would not recommend going the route of hundreds of workflow rules converted into flows. You kind of lose out on an opportunity to consolidate a lot of your workflow rules into single flows. So definitely do your due diligence with this one, but it does make for a much easier and faster experience in converting workflow rules. Next up, if you've been living under a rock, you may not have noticed that the next evolution of Flow Orchestrator, is coming out relatively soon. So Leanne Reimel of the Salesforce admin relations team sat down with Antoine, part of the Flow team, who is the product owner and product manager of Flow Orchestrator. He gave a great little demo of an interactive demo at that of Flow Orchestrator. So definitely, if you're curious about process orchestration and the next evolution of Flow, check this one out. Quick plug for one of the most popular actions on Unofficial SF, Send Better Email. Jack Pond released 2.16, which fixed a number of issues, primarily surrounding checkboxes, surprisingly enough. So if you've been having issues, and most likely you have, with checkboxes and sending multiple versions of attachments, as well as issues with activities and tasks being generated, you may want to install this one and check it out. More than likely you've already seen this, but I'll show it anyway. Alex Edelstein posted a Winter 22 Flow sneak peek way too many things to list out here, but namely improvements to the auto layout mode, a new rollback element for screen flows, a new list view for record triggered flows, and one of my favorites and probably one of the more popular things that will come out of this for developers is being able to run flow triggers asynchronously after being run, which is super handy for things like external callouts. So if you're curious to know what's coming for Winter 22, check that out, as well as a sneak peek for Flow Orchestrator coming soon. David Fromstein of Salesforce has come up with a nifty component called LWC modal to be used by developers as a way to provide a reusable way to create pop-up dialogues. So he goes through all the different things that he did to create this and then talks through some of the specific examples. Namely, he used it in his newest version of the flow button bar, which is one of my favorite components in the community. So he talks through how he built this in order to provide a mechanism for folks to add custom buttons in a separate dialog box than the CPE that he built. So if you're a developer and you would like a reusable dialog box, check it out. Lastly, we've got FluxCard 1.2, which came out back in July. So this improvement added an attribute for transition on click. So if you're not familiar with this screen component, it basically allows you to present records in the form of a card, and you can have it trigger all sorts of things like trigger subflows, different screens, and things like that. So check this one out if you're using FluxCard.